Most people walking around don't even know who they really are. But worse than that, they don't know who they've become since they came back from whatever life broke them last. That's why they second, guess themselves, explain too much, get guilt, tripped into fixing things they didn't even break. You're not confused. You've just been gaslit so long that clarity feels like defiance. And the crazy part, the ones who mistreated you, who threw dirt on your name, they know exactly who you are underneath all that pain. They know what you're capable of. That's why they keep pushing you to doubt it. They're not confused. They're strategic. They see the real you and hope you never see it yourself. There comes a point where silence becomes your best weapon, not because you're trying to be noble, but because you're done handing people explanations they never earned. Every time you explain your heart to someone who has no intention of hearing it, you drain your spirit. It's not about being mysterious or emotionally detached. It's about realizing some people don't deserve access to your inner world. If they had respect for you, they wouldn't need to hear the whole story to believe your truth. They'd know by how you carry yourself. But since they don't, stop feeding them your voice just to prove you're good. Let your absence scream where your words used to whisper. When you stop chasing people to understand you, you finally see who was only sticking around because they fed off your explaining, your apologizing, your need to make peace. Peace isn't always quiet. Sometimes it's fake smiles and tolerating passive digs just to keep things cool. Drop that. Let things get awkward. Let things fall apart. Stop patching up things that only held together because you were the glue. If a connection dies when you stop overextending, it was never a connection. It was a transaction. You gave, they took. You paused, they vanished. That's all you needed to know. There's this pressure to always be the bigger person, to always take the high road, to always forgive even when forgiveness wasn't asked for. But that's a setup. That's how manipulators stay comfortable. By guilt, tripping strong people into playing soft. Sometimes settling the score isn't about revenge. It's about saying nothing while life pulls the curtain back on the fake. You stay steady, you stay grounded, and you let the weight of their own actions come back to them. It always does. People love to act shocked when the energy shifts, but they forget what they did when they had the upper hand. Don't remind them. Just stop shielding them from their own karma. People will project their own insecurities on you the moment you stop letting them walk all over you. Suddenly you're cold, selfish, or acting brand new. Nah. What you're doing is removing the access they abused. When you change the rules, expect resistance. That pushback isn't a sign you're wrong. It's proof they were benefiting from your silence, your compliance. You don't owe anyone a warning before you start respecting yourself. You don't need a group vote to cut off dysfunction. Stand on your shift, even when the room starts to get real quiet. Silence is not loneliness. It's clarity. Most people ain't ready to admit that they liked the old version of you because it made them feel bigger. That version that tolerated disrespect, that over-explained, that apologized for having boundaries. When you level up emotionally, you lose people who liked you better broken. Let them go. Stop chasing the approval of people who only clapped when you were small. Don't explain your growth to those who were never rooting for it. They see it. That's why the fake concern starts showing up. You've changed. Yeah, and I'm not going back. Your calmness will bother the hell out of people who got used to seeing you react. They're not mad that you're healing. They're mad that your healing exposes their mess. Stay calm anyway. You don't need to defend yourself against lies, rumors, or gossip. Let them talk. The truth has a way of crawling out when the noise dies down. Your silence ain't weakness. It's power most people don't have. Everyone can talk. Few can observe. Fewer can wait. Keep watching. Let their behavior speak before your name ever has to. Some people will act like your peace is a personal attack. That's because they were thriving when you were distracted, drained, and doubting yourself. The minute you start conserving your energy, not explaining your every move, they'll call you distant, mean, or fake. But peep the pattern. It's always the ones who gave the least who expect the most. Let them sit in that discomfort. Let them face the version of themselves that doesn't know how to exist without leeching off yours. If they can't handle the boundaries, they were never real to begin with. There's a point where trying to control how people see you just becomes another way of betraying yourself. Let go of the urge to clarify things they already chose to misunderstand. Stop trying to look good in stories written by people who only ever saw you as a background character. You don't need their version of the story to feel valid. Let them write their script. You live your truth. This isn't about proving anything anymore. It's about preserving your sanity. You didn't come back into this life to play small, just to make others comfortable. You came back to remember who the hell you really are. What's wild is, the moment you stop shrinking yourself, people start acting like you're dangerous. And maybe to them, you are. Because a person who doesn't need validation, who isn't controlled by guilt, who knows when to walk away, that kind of person can't be manipulated. So now it's about settling the score in the realest way possible, not by doing what they did, but by doing what they never could. Staying solid, staying true, and never apologizing for the upgrade. Let life expose what it needs to. Let them feel the silence. And if it hurts them, good. Now they know how you felt. The moment actions start matching self-respect, the chaos that used to follow starts falling off. Not because the world magically got better, but because you're finally not volunteering for bullshit. Life stops swinging at you the same way when you stop stepping into rings you don't belong in. You walk different when you know what you deserve. And funny enough, the same people who used to test you constantly they get real quiet. Why? Because self-respect shifts the whole room. It kills the permission slip they were using to take advantage of your silence. Before, your kindness was a signal. Now, your boundaries are the line. That's the shift people feel but won't talk about. When you stop proving your worth, it's crazy how many things stop going wrong. Not because bad people disappear overnight, but because you stop giving them the opportunity. There's less drama when you don't respond to bait. The arguments don't happen when you don't explain the obvious. Peace doesn't mean life is quiet. It just means you're not engaging in every mess you're invited to. And that's the difference. When self-respect kicks in, the nonsense stops finding you as easily. It's not that life changes. It's that you stop standing in the way of what's meant to leave. Most problems weren't the world punishing you. They were you choosing to stay in rooms your soul already outgrew. People who once depended on your silence or guilt will suddenly start calling you distant or cold when you move different. But the truth is, you were never cold. You were just tired of carrying dead weight. And when self-respect finally sets in, the energy you used to waste on defending yourself starts going into protecting yourself. You're not shutting down. You're leveling up. And the ones who only knew how to deal with you when you were doubting yourself, they'll act like you betrayed them. That's how you know you're doing it right. Nobody complains when you stay small. The pushback is the confirmation. Staying calm doesn't mean you're not angry. It means you're not available for chaos. People think silence is weakness until it makes them uncomfortable. When you stop reacting, it drives the manipulators crazy. They need your reaction to stay relevant. The moment you stop handing it out, they start spinning. Let them. That silence. It's not for them, it's for you. It's how you hold your ground without wasting your breath. The same people who once demanded explanations will now say you've changed. Good. Silence is expensive. Not everyone gets to hear your voice anymore. Not when it cost you peace before. Social pressure hits different when your inner world is solid. All those fake smiles, the guilt trips, the "you've been acting different" whispers, they bounce off. Because you finally know that not every disapproval is worth your energy. There's freedom in not needing the crowd to clap. When your moves don't depend on applause, the game changes. Most of the pressure was never real. It was just fear of being misunderstood. But once you get okay with being the villain in someone's twisted version of events, life stops feeling so heavy. Let them misread your silence. You've got better things to protect. You start noticing who was really there once you stop bending yourself to make others comfortable. That's when the masks fall off. The ones who stuck around only when you were agreeable, easy to manage, easy to guilt. They fade fast when you grow a spine. Watch who starts picking fights with your boundaries. Watch who suddenly feels hurt when you stop being available on demand. Those aren't your people. That was convenience. Self-respect flushes them out without you having to lift a finger. And that's the point. You don't even have to argue anymore. Your new behavior does all the talking. There's a difference between staying silent out of fear and staying silent out of power. The first keeps you trapped. The second sets you free. Once your silence is rooted in clarity, you don't flinch when people throw shade. You see it for what it is: panic, desperation. The last gasps of people who lost control over you. And the beauty of it, you don't even need to respond. They expose themselves. The truth always leaks out when you're no longer trying to patch up everyone else's stories. When your actions align with your standards, life starts aligning too, not because it rewards you, but because you're no longer inviting chaos in. What most people call bad luck is really just patterns they refuse to change. When self-respect kicks in, you stop calling dysfunction normal. You walk away sooner, you speak up quicker, and you stop convincing yourself that potential is enough to stay. That's when life shifts. Not because it gets easier, but because you stop choosing hard in the name of hope. Growth makes you ruthless with your time and careful with your access. Not everyone gets to come with you, and that's not sad. It's necessary. You weren't sent here to carry everyone, especially not those who would drop you. The second you stopped being useful, letting things unfold sounds cute until you actually do it. That's when the anxiety creeps in, the urge to fix, explain, control. But here's the hard truth: control is a trap. The more you try to manage people's opinions, reactions, or loyalty, the more you lose yourself. When you stop chasing outcomes, life gets real honest. You start seeing what's solid and what's just noise. Self-respect is what keeps you grounded when everything around you wants you to panic. And when you don't panic, when you stay still, the fakes can't breathe. That silence isn't passive, it's strategy. Life gets easier when you stop lying to yourself. When your actions finally say, "I'm not settling anymore." Doors close, but better ones open. Not right away, but gradually. And the shift isn't loud. It's in the people who no longer text, the invites that stop coming, the peace that replaces constant drama. It's in waking up not dreading another day full of fake conversations and heavy compromises. Self-respect doesn't mean you feel good all the time. It means you can look in the mirror without cringing. That's when you know life isn't fighting you anymore. You just finally stopped fighting yourself.